Salut! Today, no relative pronouns. I hope you're happy. I certainly am. Also, my voice is a bit broken, so I apologize for the low voice. I swear I won't sing you some Johnny Cash. Unless you ask me in the comments down below. Anyhow, we're going to learn the verb plaire, which is another way to say someone likes something or someone, or that one person is attracted to another. We will also see how to say before doing something or after doing something, and after covering the pluperfect, we will have fun with some new expressions with the word HASARD, which means chance. Alright, make sure you downloaded the notes in the description right below this video, and let's get started. First, the verb plaire, P-L-A-I-R-E. The verb plaire is used in a way that would literally mean in English, A is pleasing to B. But it translates logically to B likes A. This means that, just like our verb manquer, we will need to think a little bit and invert our subject and object. Alright, let's first check how to conjugate it. In the present, the verb plaire is conjugated as follows. Please repeat after me. Je plais, tu plais, il plaît, nous plaisons, vous plaisez, il plaise. In the passé composé, the verb plaire uses the auxiliary avoir and is conjugated as follows. Please repeat after me. J'ai plu, tu as plu, il a plu, nous avons plu, vous avez plu, ils ont plu. Finally, using our present nous plaisons, we can remove the ending ons and add the imparfait endings and conjugate the verb plaire in the imparfait as follows. Please repeat after me. Je plaisais, tu plaisais, il plaisait, nous plaisions, vous plaisiez, il plaisait. Alright, let's see how we use this verb now. So with nouns, it's a bit easier, so let's start with that. We start with our subject A, then we add the conjugated verb plaire, then the preposition a, and then we add our object B. So for example, we would say A plaît à B. Replacing A and B with real nouns, we can say Anne plaît à Barry. Now, as I said, literally this means Anne is pleasing to Barry. But we want to translate that with the verb to like. And Anne is pleasing to Barry actually means that Barry likes Anne. Are we all clear on that? Okay, so let's try another example. Marie et Anne plaisent à Fred. Here we conjugated the verb plaire using the plural because we have two subjects, Mary and Anne. So this literally means Mary and Anne are pleasing to Fred. But we would actually say in a normal sentence, Fred likes Mary and Anne. Now let's see what happened with pronouns. Because we use the preposition a with nouns, we will need an indirect object pronoun here. So we would form a sentence this way. Your subject, A, then add your indirect object pronoun that replaces B, and then conjugate the verb plaire. This is why tu me plais means you are pleasing to me. But it would translate I like you. Our object me becomes the subject I with the verb to like. So finally, remember that our indirect object pronoun for the third person of the singular is lui, regardless of gender, and for the third person of the plural, leur, regardless of gender again. This means that he is pleasing to her, meaning she likes him, would be with the verb plaire. Il, lui, plaît. Alright, I invite you to practice this using the notes, and also because in the notes you will see that we can use the verb plaire as a reflexive verb. This is not as common as what we just saw, so I'm going to skip it here, but please make sure you check it out. Alright, our next point is when in English you say before and then a verb ending in ing. For example, before eating, I wash my hands. This one is pretty easy. You just say in French, avant, and the preposition de, and then add an infinitive. So before eating becomes avant de manger. So far, so good. There should be no problem here. But when you guys say after and a verb ending in ing, this is where it gets a bit tricky in French. Of course, you all know your passé composé very well, so this shouldn't be really hard at all. See, you say after eating, for example. Well, in French, we see it as after having eaten. This is why you will need to have the infinitive of the auxiliary avoir or être here, depending on the verb. Remember, reflexive verbs and verbs of movement will need the auxiliary être, and most of the rest will use avoir. And then after that, you will need to add your past participle, just like with the passé composé. So, after eating, as I said, is understood in French as after having eaten. This is why in French it will be après avoir mangé. Let me show you with more examples. After drinking will be après avoir bu. And now an example with a verb that uses être. After leaving will be après être parti. Alright, let's jump to the pluperfect, which is a new tense we need to learn. But I have some good news. You already know how to conjugate it. Take your passé composé. The passé composé is formed by conjugating the auxiliary avoir or être in the present, and then we add the past participle of the verb. This is why I ate is j'ai mangé in the passé composé. Well, the pluperfect is a past in the past, a double past if you will. Basically, it will translate any sentence where in English you say I had and a past participle. For example, I had eaten before we met, or I had told you not to do that. This is an action that happened before something else in the past happened. Well, all you have to do is conjugate your auxiliary avoir or être in the imparfait instead of the present. That's it. Let me show you how it conjugates using a verb that uses the auxiliary avoir as an example, and then the verb that uses the auxiliary être. So the verb manger in the pluperfect is conjugated as follows. Please repeat after me. J'avais mangé. Tu avais mangé. Il avait mangé. Nous avions mangé. Vous aviez mangé. Ils avaient mangé. Now, using the verb sortir, the pluperfect is conjugated as follows. Please repeat after me. J'étais sorti. Tu étais sorti. Il était sorti. Nous étions sortis. Vous étiez sortis. Ils étaient sortis. Alright, that's it for grammar. But I want to give you some fun expressions using the word hasard. The word hasard does not mean hazard. Never. It actually means chance. But don't mix it up with the French word chance, which actually means luck. These are called faux amis or false friends, meaning they look like the same word, but they aren't. Anyway, let's jump to our expressions. Un jeu de hasard means a game of chance. For example, il n'aime pas les jeux de hasard means he doesn't like games of chance. Tirer au hasard means to draw at random. For example, tire une carte au hasard means Draw a random card from the deck. Par hasard, at the beginning of a sentence means by any chance. For example, par hasard, auriez-vous une cigarette means by any chance, would you have a cigarette? Par hasard in another spot in a sentence mean by chance. For example, j'ai croisé Amélie dans la rue par hasard means I ran into Amélie by chance in the street. And finally, laisser au hasard means to leave something to chance. For example, laisse le hasard faire les choses means let things unfold themselves or let it be. All right, that's it for today. But can you show me what you've learned into this lesson? Maybe use the pluperfect or tell me what is pleasing to you. Maybe this lesson. Just do that in the comments below. In the meantime, I hope you learned something and I'll see you on the next one. Au revoir.